Hello student, now we are going to continue with our third part of evolution. Embryology evidence. What is basically an embryology evidence is? It is the study based upon the observation of certain common features during embryonic stage of all vertebrates. Vertebrates embryos show similarities which are all vertebrate embryos develop a row of gill slits, but they are functional only in fish, not found in any other vertebrate. Notochords is present in all vertebrate embryos. First of all, what we have to know about the embryo. As we know that during the sexual reproduction, we go on the sexual reproduction, what we found that there is a fusion of gamete. There is a fusion of gamete. This means that a male gamete and a female gamete get fused. Suppose this is a male gamete and this is also a female gamete. When they fuse, they give rise to a zygote. This is a zygote. This zygote develops into embryo. And all we see these embryos development in the mother's fetus, or we can say we are found these things in the mammals mostly. But the embryology says that during the process of embryo there are certain things which are found common, like we compare a embryo I just a embryo of fish and a human being and a human being. What we found that the fish contains gills. The fish contain gills which helps the fish to breathe. Similarly, the human being also have a gills as a function in them. That is, the breathing of the fish or a human being is totally depend on gills. That is, the breathing is totally depends on gills. As the human being's embryo, that is the developmental stage of an offspring, it is floating under the mother's womb. Mother's womb, the mother's womb is floating. That's why, like suppose this is a mother's womb, and in mother's womb there is a embryo which is developing in an organ offspring. There, in this time, this embryo is in floating inside the mother's womb, and as it is floating, it is something like a in the water. So this embryo functions like a fish and it breathes with the help of its gills which are present over here. Okay, so this functions as a gill to take oxygen and give out carbon dioxide and so on. Similarly, fish also uses a gills. So during the embryonic stage of fish, there is a gills also present which helps a fish to take a process of breathing, perform the process of breathing. What we actually want to explain over here, that these function, that a gills function is seen in fish also in human being. But when the fish get developed, that is the embryo is developed into offspring, the gills of a fish is remain there, and when this offspring become adult, the gill is also be there because it fish is found in water and gills function or help in the performing of breathing process. Similarly, while in the case of human being, when this offspring comes out, in that stage, the function of the gills stop and the lungs start functioning. Lungs start functioning when it becomes adult, then also lungs is functioning. So during the embryonic stage, the gills is functioning, but when when this embryo develops into offspring and the birth takes place, then the gills function is stopped and the lungs function starts. This embryonic evidence shows that during the embryonic stage, when there is a similarity in between fish and human being, then this gives rise to that they have a common ancestors. They have a common ancestors, which means that in the early development of the earth, when the earth was evolved and the different type of organisms are coming over here, the diversity is being generated, that a different type of living organism is found. These diversity actually belongs to a one common ancestor. And how we can prove it? We can prove that there is a fish, because the earth has lot of water. Some fish develops into mammals, and those organisms which develops into mammals, they lost the function of their gills, and the function of the gills is taken by lungs. Okay, so they have a common ancestors, but the functions becomes lost, and that why they become a different type of organism, and this different type of organism gives rise to a difference in the diversity of the organism. So these studies is known as embryology study. We go on the example, we see that there is a gill slit in fish. We found this gill slit in fish. Similarly, this gill slit fish is also found in reptiles. Both functions same, but when they become adult, the reptiles lost this function and the lungs takes place, while in fish it remains there and it is present in the adult form. So we can say that there is a common thing in the embryology which proves that both are originated from the same origin or same ancestors. Later, during the time has passes, the modifications has been taken place by which the loss of the gill function is been taken in the reptiles, and soon it become another type of organism which we today known as reptiles. Similarly, if we go on a birds, we found the tails was over here. Okay, and we also found a tail in human being, but this is an embryonic stage, that is a developmental stage after zygote. So this tail is present in both the organism, but when this organism take birth, the tail was lost in human being. This was lost, and that we cannot find any tail in human being, while the tail is still present in the birds. And they also have that bird is also develops, that is the zygote develops into embryo, embryo develops into offspring. All this development takes place in the egg shell, in the egg shell. And the development of the human being in the early stage is found in the is present in the mother's womb. Mother's womb. So when we compare this, suppose it is also just like a mother's womb, but it is external and it is internal. So whatever is the development is in the enclosed circuit, or we can say in the enclosed egg like shape or an enclosed portion, that is there is no connection with the external environment, so they function both similarly. But when the organism comes to the atmosphere or on the earth, or comes out or birth takes place, then they are coming into contact with the external atmosphere. In that situation, these things have been lost and the lungs start functioning. Similarly, birds tails are present, but human tails are lost as a developmental in the adult time we see. But the early development we have some common thing. These common things give rise to that there is a common ancestor. So the study of common ancestor through embryonic development is called a embryology, and this gives the clear-cut idea that the diversity of the organism comes from only a single organism. Due to their changement as the time passes, brings a diversity in the organism, which gives rise different types of organism on this. Now we move on the comparative anatomy and morphology. comparative. The term comparative indicates that there is a similarity. We go on the word that the comparative matlab means similarity, and when we focus on similarity, there are two things we have to focus: anatomy and morphology. Morphology means external functions. We go on the morphology, it means external function, and anatomy means internal organ, internal part, we can say. So what would we see over here? There is a anatomical similarities, but dissimilarity in their function. So comparative anatomy indicates the similarity in the structure but dissimilarity in function. What we say? Similarity in structure, internal structure. Similarity in internal structure, and dissimilarity in function. Okay, fine. So let's go on the divergent of evolution. What does divergent evolution says? It clearly indicates the comparative anatomy and morphology, whose definition is there is a similarity in the internal structure and dissimilarity in function. Let's suppose take an example of whale, bat, cheetah, human. These four shares a similarity in the patterns of bones of forelimbs. If we go on the forelimbs bones, that is if we go on the bones of the leg of a human being, we go on the legs of the human being, or the back two legs of the cheetah, similarly in the whales and the bats, what we found, these four limbs perform different functions. That is that the functions are different. In these animals, they are similar in anatomical structure. That is, the anatomy is similar. That is, the leg of the cheetah also have a humerus, radius, ulna, carpal, metacarpal. Similarly, legs of the human being also have humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and flagellum. But the function of the cheetah leg is different from the function of the human being. Hence, these animals, the same structure develop along different direction due to adaptation of different. And how these different occurs? First of all, this indicates that when they are anatomically similar, that means their origin or their ancestor may be similar or may be common. That this indicates that their ancestors are common. Ancestors are common. But how the functions become different? But functions become different. Functions become different. Due to the different need. Due to different need. That is depend on their requirement. Different need. That is depend upon their requirement. Depend upon their requirement. Okay. So as they require, they use that function, that part as for that function, which make it rigid and dependable and adaptable on that basis. And these adaptation changes the morphology of that organism, by which different type of organism are occurred and which give rise to diversity. So this type of differences, that is having a similarity in structural function and dissimilarity in functions, give rise to a divergent evolution. What we call a divergent evolution, that is structurally similar but morphologically different. And we also call these type of parts or an organ are homologous. The four limbs of a tiger and the four limbs of a human are homologous to each other. Other example we can say bougainvillea, and a tendrils and the cucurbita. If you look on the bougainvillea flower, what you found, the plant arising a leaf. Okay, from that point there is a thorn, that is a, you can say, cactus like a pointed is arrived. Similarly, in cucurbita, what we found is a stem, there is leaves, and from there is a tendril, a spring like structure is seen like this. You have might be seen in this climbing tree. So the origin of the arising of thorn and the origin of arising of this tendril are common. It is from the point of the attachment of leaf with the stem. At that point, the thorn is also arise. At that point, the tendril is also arise. This shows that they have a common ancestor because they are anatomically similar, but the function is different. This tendril helps in climbing by attaching like an anchor. It works like an anchor, while this thorn function as a needle for defense purposes. Needle for defense purposes. So such thing is called a comparative anatomy or morphological evidences. We have some example. Look at this. Look the legs of a human being. Femur, radia, ulna. There is a radia and ulna. There is a femur. There is a carpels, metacarpals, and so on. Similarly, the four limbs of a tiger, cheetah, you can see. You can see there it is also femur. There is a radius and ulna, carpels, metacarpals, carpels. These are being found. Both have a same structure, but their functions are different. Their functions depend on their needs. As human beings don't require its four limbs, they only require for walking and running purposes. Similarly, it is being used but jumping and so on. These differences give rise to the differences in morphology. Look at this morphological analysis. We found their functions are different. That's why their organisms are different. This gives rise to a diversity, but they are anatomically similar, which proves that they have a common ancestors. Similarly, you can look at the wheels, four limbs of a wheels, and similarly four limbs of a bat. These both are similar, quite similar, but have a structurally similar but morphologically different. Their functions are different. Look at the bougainvillea. In bougainvillea, you found a thorn. You look at this thorn. The origin of the thorn is just at the point where the leaves has been originated. Simple. Look at this. A tendril. The origin is same. Where the leaves, the tendril is will also arising. So both have a similarity in their anatomy, but dissimilarity in function. It functions for a defense purposes for bougainvillea. It functions for a climbing, work as an anchor for cucurbita. Okay. Now we move on the convergent evolution. What is basically a convergent evolution stands for? If we go on the convergent evolution, the organ of different groups of organisms performing same function irrespective of structural or anatomical difference is known as analogy. What does this mean? It means that structurally different, structurally different, structurally different, but functionally similar. Functionally similar. Remember the divergent, structurally same, functionally different, but in convergent, structurally different, functionally different. Both are inversely proportional to each other. Like in convergent, you see structures are different, but functions are same. But in divergent, you found structures are same, but functions are different. So divergent evolution is called homologous, and convergent is called analogous. Look at the examples are wings of the butterfly. The wings of the butterfly and the wings of a bird both are different in shape. To go on the wings of the bird are different than the in shape as compared with the wings of a bird. Any bird you can take eagle, parrot, any. You found that the wings structures are different. How? We show you this something this like butterflies wings. Okay, but what about the bird's wings? Bird's wings are something like this. Wings are narrow and long, but this is broader and short. But what are the functions of these two things? Both are used for flying. Butterfly also use it for flying, and birds also use it. So the functions are both of them are similar, but structurally different. Such type of uh, evolution is called convergent evolution. As homologous are results as a convergent evolution. Another example is eye of octopus and eye of MMS. Both are structurally different, but functionally similar. Octopus also used for vision purpose, mammal also used for vision purpose, but the shapes are different. Similarly, if you go on the penguin, the flippers of penguins and the dolphins, both are similar but functionally different. If we take example of a plant, look at a sweet potato. The structure of sweet potato is different and it is considered as a root modification. The structure of potato is different. It is considered a stem modification. But what is the basic thing? The function is same. Sweet potato stores food material and it is edible part. Potato is also stores food material and it is an edible part. The edible part of potato is the tuber. The edible part of sweet potato is also a tuber. Both are tuber. But structurally both are dissimilar, but functionally both are similar. Such is known as convergent evolution. Look at this. You go on the wings of the butterfly. Look at the shape of the wings of the butterfly and the shape of the wings of the bird. Both are different, but what are the main function? For flying. Both are used for flying. The functions are same, but the structures are different. Look at the structures of the human eye and an octopus. Look at this. This is the optic nerves, and look at the optic nerve of the octopus. Both are different. Look at the pupil. If you go on the pupils, you found, let's say look at the lens first. It is too much oval, it is round in shape. It is oval while it is round in shape. Both are structurally different. Okay, look at the retina of both of them. Both are different. So every part is different from each other, but what the main function? Main function is vision. Both is used for vision purpose. So structurally both are different, but functionally both are same. Now we go on the plant. Look at the structure of the potato tuber and look at the structure of the sweet potato. Both are different in shape, but what are the main functions? Both are edible, both stores food material, and both are used. So structurally different, but functionally same. Such are called convergent. Now we come on the biochemical evidences. What biochemical evidences is going to explain over here. Similarity in proteins and genes performing a given function among diverse organisms give clue to common ancestors. Yeah, this is absolutely true. If you go on the protein, let's suppose I just take a protein. Protein is made up of 20 amino acids. Okay, 20 amino like leucine, valine, methionine, protein. Yeah. So if you go on the protein of a fish, I say take example of one fish and another. You take example of a bird like hen. Take another example of human being and another example of let's say take an example of a reptile. One reptile is lizard. Take example of a lizard. All of these organisms contain protein. It is true that fish also contain protein, hen also contain protein, human being also contain protein, lizards also contain protein. These proteins are maybe structurally different, but the protein of fish is also made up of amino acid. It is also made up of amino acid. The protein of hen is also made up of amino acid. The protein of human being also made up of amino acid. The protein of lizard is also made up of amino acid. All these amino and these proteins only contain the 20 type of amino acids. Only 20 types. That all these 20 types are found in fish also, is found in hen also, is found in human being, is also found in lizard also. So this gives a clear-cut idea that there is a similarity in their ancestors. That is, all these different type of organisms are originated from the common ancestors because their proteins are being same. Similarly, if we go on the gene, that is the DNA and RNA, if we focus on DNA and RNA. DNA is composed of AT, GC. RNA is composed of AU. Whether the adenine of human being or adenine of hen or adenine of fins, all have a same structure. Similarly, thymine of human being, thymine of fish, thymine of lizard, all have same structure. Guanine is also same in human being, guanine is also same in hen, guanine is also same in fish. When all these elements are same and they are producing a similar thing, that is proteins and nucleic acids, and also helping in formation of chromosomes, and there is a clear-cut remarcation that a biochemical evidences prove that all have a common ancestor, which means that these all different type of organism are originated from a single organism, and due to the time changes and passes, the differences is been occurring, and these differences give rise to a new variety of organism, what we call today a diversity in the organism. Clear? Embryological support for evidences, we know that, which was proposed by Ernst Haeckel. Ernst Haeckel has proposed the embryological support. We have discussed that based on the observation of certain features during the embryonic stage, like a gills of different vertebrates which are present still in the fishes but were found absent in the adults. Embryos of all vertebrates include human being develops a row of vestigial gills that's just behind the head, but it is functional organ only in fish. During the embryonic stages, both fish and human being have a gills behind their head, but it is only functional in the fish. But it is will be absent or not found in the adult vertebrate. These all have a clear-cut evidence, but it was not. It was carefully disproved by Carl Ernst. Carl Ernst, one Bayer, have not agreed with this region. He noted the embryos never pass through adult stage on the other. It was his theory. He disproved that on the basis that what he noted that embryo that embryo never pass through adult stage of other animals. This line stands for, that means embryo give rise to a birth of an organism, and that means the embryo is lost and converted itself into a child. That means the embryo is converted into a child, converted into a child. And when anything is converted, that means it gets lost. When embryo was lost, then it will never pass to the adult, because the child is being converted in juvenile stage. Juvenile stage. and the juvenile is converted into adult. So did a embryo is changes directly into adult? No, embryo never changes directly into adult. Then this indicates that this is not a clear-cut remarcation that they have a common ancestor. If embryo is directly changes into adult, then we can say that they have a common. This was been the views of the Carl Ernst von Baer. So all these evidences clear-cut remarks that there is a common thing among the different type of organism, and these common thing give rise that there is a chance that remember one, there is a chance that there is a common ancestor. It is not still being proved that we all originated from single common organism due to time changes or diversity. These are only chance, because some scientists believe and some does not believe, and every scientist has give his own evidences, and by that evidences we are proving that there is a chance of embryological support, that we have a common, but there is also the chance that we don't have a common, according to Carl Ernst, because he says that embryo never changes directly into adult. Embryo is converted into child, and child is converted into juvenile, and juvenile is converted into adult. This clearly indicates that embryo is converging, and when anything is converted, then it is lost. So all these what we have learned today is the evidences regarding to the common ancestors. I hope you have understand very well this. Please go through the ASM related with that and try to solve it. And if any doubt regarding with this, please directly consult me. Thank you very much for this.